everyone, I am here with my best of beauty products for 2021. Before I go any farther, Happy New Year! Welcome to 2022. I hope your celebrations were fabulous for New Year's Eve, but let's get into the best of. Now for my best of beauty video, I'm not limiting it to something from every category. I'm just listing my all-time favorites from 2021. I went through all my monthly favorites videos and culled the list from there, and on top of that, I added my most used products of 2021. So it's a little bit of both. And some of these I've never even talked about in a video before, but they live in my everyday makeup drawer and they deserve some attention. Everything is listed down below in the description box underneath the timestamps in the order in which I talk about them here. And they have links next to them if you want to learn more about the product or if you want to shop them. Let's start with more face complexion products. And I would have to say that the Colleen Rothschild Black Tourmaline Primer is the standout primer for me from 2021, but sometimes I reach for a primer for a specific purpose. And this one has a very specific purpose to me. This Black Tourmaline Primer does make my skin smoother, does make the makeup go on a little bit nicer and last longer, but it also slightly mattifies the skin, which is something nice to have, especially during the summer months when you still want to wear a dewy or more radiant foundation, but you want to take it down just a notch. And what's magical about this is even though it's slightly mattifying, it does not dry out your skin. And I do have dry skin, so this is very much appreciated. I also have very sensitive and reactive skin, and this does not affect me at all. So I have to mention that. Now, as far as foundations go, the first one is not new at all for 2021, but it's one of my most worn. It is the La Mer Soft Fluid Focus Foundation. I wear it in the shade 120 Ivory. Now this is a very pricey foundation and they have raised the price on it as well. I will say if you are over 40 and it is in your budget, that it is definitely worth a try. It makes your skin look so flawless and it is long wearing without clogging up pores, and some magical property in this makes it look better as the day goes on. However, I've noticed a few people commenting that this didn't do anything for them and they're in their 20s or early 30s, and I would say, of course not. It's because you have young skin and everything looks amazing on your skin. This isn't gonna do anything for you. Do not waste your money. But if you're over 40, over 50, the vast feedback I have seen or received is that this does amazing things for the skin. At a completely different price point and new, I'm pretty sure it was new in 2021, is this foundation by Woma. It's the Woma by Sharon C line that is exclusive to Walmart. There is a department store level of the Woma foundation. I've never tried it because I've so enjoyed this one. It is the IRL, in real life, flawless IRL, that is skin perfecting foundation. My summer shade is Fair Lady T5 and my winter shade is Fair Lady T1. This is very much a skin-like, satiny, almost semi-matte finish. It, for me, works better in the hotter months. I feel like it's a tad bit drying when things cool down. Of course, we haven't really experienced a winter here, so I probably could have been wearing this year-round. If you haven't tried this yet, I think you'll really enjoy it. It feels really expensive. The packaging is expensive. It's a nice frosted glass bottle, comes with a pump, wears really well all day. I prefer putting this one on with a brush, specifically my BK Beauty 106, but it goes on well with fingers and a sponge as well. And then the foundation that I'm wearing today that I have to list in my favorites is the Face Atelier Ultra Pro Foundation. I had first heard about it from Lisa J Makeup. She's raved about this for years. And then the makeup artist who did my makeup for the Gigi New York photo shoot, I think it was in May, used this on my face and it's incredible. I'm wearing it in the shade Wheat, which is definitely a shade too dark for me right now as I'm looking like my head is one shade and my neck is another. I don't really care. I'm not really leaving the house at this point and y'all can privately judge me, it's okay. But this stuff is incredible. It lasts all day. It wears incredibly well. It covers a little bit. It goes a very long way. You almost don't need concealer when you wear this. So I definitely say it's medium to full coverage. I've read that it is waterproof. I have never tested that, but I will be taking this with me if my cruise vacation goes forward. Now there's rumors that it won't. So I can even wear this to the beach if I feel like. So absolutely love this. And a little bit really does go a long way. This is just really the sample size that I ordered and it is still going strong. Moving on to concealers. So it wouldn't be a favorites video without quickly mentioning my favorite under eye corrector. This goes on before I put on my foundation, and it's the Trish McEvoy Instant Eye Lift. I have two going into the empties container. I actually went so far as to even pull out the stopper in the middle, and I am completely out. And if I look a little shadowy, it's because I'm out. I tried a different corrector today, and it's okay, but I feel like it doesn't do as well as this one, so I'm definitely ordering another one ASAP. So I absolutely love that. It comes in 3 different shades, and I'm wearing shade 1. As far as under eye concealers go, this is the one I've been using almost exclusively since early March. It's the Tarte Shape Tape Ultra Creamy Concealer. I wear it in the shade 16N. It has never creased on me. I think it looks beautiful. I put it here, and then sometimes I'll put it down the center of my face just to add a little coverage and a little highlight. I think it is fabulous. If you loved the original Shape Tape formula, but you found it a little too drying for you, give this one a go. This concealer I probably mentioned at some point when I first got it, but I don't think I've talked about it since. This is the Dior Forever Skin Correct Concealer. I have it in the shade 1N, and this is the concealer that I wear on my face, not under my eyes, but on my face almost every single day. It sits in my everyday makeup drawer in my little concealer section, and this is the one I reach for the most. It just wears so beautifully. It blends in with every foundation that I wear it with, and it's just one of those little workhorses that needs to be mentioned. Now let's talk about powders. This was relatively new, pretty sure it's for 2021, and I'd wanted this for a while, so I'm glad I finally got it. It's the By Terry Hyaluronic Hydra Powder, and it is a super fine, very white powder, and I only use it to set my concealer. That's it. So this is going to last me absolutely forever. You can set your whole face with this if you want, but I just find that it works specifically very well for anywhere where you have fine lines. So if you want to set your under eyes, it's great. Sometimes I set around my nose and the corners of my mouth with it because it's so great for fine lines. So I absolutely love it. There is a tinted version, but I just prefer the white. I will say be careful about packing this on with a wet sponge because it will stay white on your skin if you do it that way. So I suggest the Real Technique setting brush. That's what I use every day. Now, to set the rest of my foundation, what I've been using for a few months now at least, and definitely deserves to be in this list, is the Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Skin Blurring Powder Foundation. I have it in the shade Y215. Right before I came on, I had had lunch and I had had a mask on, and I had worn off a little of the foundation here, so I just grabbed the pad and just touched up really quickly on my chin, and we are good to go. I keep this in my makeup drawer, and I don't use the pad unless it's for touch-ups, but to set my foundation, I use a big fluffy brush and just do it all over. But the actual one that I keep in my purse is this guy, and I actually did a collaboration with the Wonder 2 brand, and this is the Wonder 2 Go Beyond Foundation. I have it in the shade Light, and this is what I keep in my purse along with the Kabuki brush that goes with it. And this is fabulous for touching up on the go. I mean, it is a powder foundation. It can give you full coverage if you want it. And it's also great for no makeup days if you just want to quickly throw it on and go do a walk or take the dog out or whatever. So this one lives in my purse. I rarely talk about it, but it needed to be mentioned. Okay, we're moving through face. We're getting into blushes, highlighters, and bronzers and contour. So here we go. For contour, which is what I do next in this order, the standout has to be the Makeup Forever Sculpting Powder. I have it in the shade S112. As you can see, it is very much well worn. This is my favorite contour powder if you have this general kind of skin tone. But another favorite that I've also really enjoyed is this Lorac Pro Palette. I actually ordered this from Amazon earlier in the summer, and it's their contour palette and it has so many options. And what's great about it is this tone is very similar for contouring, but also all these different shades work really well as just a matte eyeshadow look. This is more of a cream shade, this is more of a yellow shade, and this is more of a highlight kind of shimmer shade. Gives you a lot of options. You can contour your face and do a full eye look with this. Now for bronzers, there had to be 3 standouts. My all-time favorite, and I'm actually wearing 2 today, but my all-time favorite still is the L'Oreal True Lumi Bronzer. I usually wear it in the shade 1 or light. In the summer, I move on to medium. But this is almost a perfect dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronze and Glow for the bronze side. It is such a great bronzer, and what I love and what I did today is that I used a bigger, fluffier brush to almost go all over my face and really tan me up. So I'm wondering if I look as tan as I do, not because of the wrong shade of foundation or just because I went nuts with the bronzer, but this is such a user-friendly shade. If you've been afraid to try a bronzer, I highly recommend trying this one, especially if you're fair-skinned. This is by far the best fair-skin bronzer I have ever tried. What I also wore today, and it's fairly new to me, is this beauty. This is the Gucci bronzer. I bought it in shade 4 a year or so ago. It was the wrong shade. I threw it in the box. Probably should have returned it. It's good for summer. Threw it in a drawer. This year I bought the correct shade, which is shade 1 for me. This packaging is stunning. And this is more of a matte bronzer. The L'Oreal has some sheen to it. It doesn't have shimmer, it doesn't have glitter, but definitely has a sheen to it. This is matte, and this is what I used today, and this will really, really bronze up the face. Then I felt I went a little too heavy-handed, so I used the L'Oreal to kind of blur it out a little bit. There's a lot of extraneous packaging here. If you open it up, there's like this whole brush. It's a very expensive version of like the Physicians Formula bronzer packaging. So I wish they would streamline that a little bit, but it has a nice floral scent to the bronzer, and it's beautiful. It goes on so smoothly and blends like a dream. But the bronzer that I use the most, again, in more summer months, more hot, humid situations, is the Tarte Park Avenue Princess. I have gone to some outdoor events at the height of summer. Sweat is running down my face, dripping off my chin, and the bronzer has not budged. So if you ever find yourself in that situation, you need to grab this. Now on to highlights. I have 3 that I want to talk about. So the one that was probably used the most in 2021 and is still available is this Buxom highlighter from their White Russian limited edition collection. I mean, it's hard to tell, but it's almost to pan on this. It's part of their Wanderlust collection. It is a pinky toned, very beautiful, not crazy in your face highlighter. There we go. The sunshine is really bright today, but I think you can get the idea. And this is what I reach for more days than not. But another one of those products that sits in my everyday makeup drawer and I use all the time, but for some reason never talk about, is this one from Benefit. It's their Cookie highlighter. I still hate the packaging. It's so bulky. It's very similar to the Buxom White Russian. I'm wearing it today. I love this, and you can really load it up or you can tone it down a little bit. It's beautiful. One of those things that just will always have sitting in my makeup drawer. But if you want a more subtle option, and this is a relatively, I don't want to say this is a new to me product because I've talked about this for years. It's the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Palette, and it has dim light, incandescent light, and radiant light. And I have been using incandescent light as a highlighter. Not today. It's very subtle. If you like the concept of the Essence Touch of Nude highlighter, but you want just a slightly different tone, you're gonna love this palette. You can also use this to set your under eyes if you want a little more radiant look under your eyes. And the last, I'd say 3 months of the year or so, this has been the highlight that I reach for more often than not. For cheek products, I use quite a few, but there are 2 blushes in particular that I've used far more than any other one. So the first one should come as no shock if you've been watching me for any length of time this year, and this is the Chantecaille Philanthropy Cheek Shade. I have it in the shade Bliss. It's a very pale pink, beautiful, shimmery pink blush. It's what I'm wearing on my cheeks today. I like a very subtle blush. So subtle, in fact. Wait till you see the next one. The other standout favorite is from Laura Mercier. I think it was this year they put me on their PR list, and they sent me almost every shade in their collection, but this one, it's part of their blush color infusion line. It's the shade Guava. It is an incredibly pale, light coral pink, and I love this in the summer all by itself, but I also love having this on hand if I've gone too heavy with another cheek shade. A little bit of this on top tones everything down. I love eyeshadow. That's my downfall. That's where I tend to spend my most money in beauty. I'm always buying eyeshadow palettes, but the standouts. First of all, from ColourPop, we have That's Taupe, a beautiful, more cooler tone palette, but there are a couple of warm to neutral shades in here that really make this incredibly wearable for everyone. And again, a great price point. Another one that I wore constantly, and when I traveled, this one always went in the travel bag. It's the Too Faced Born This Way, the Natural Nudes. Very warm. I wouldn't say it's natural, but I definitely lean toward this first cluster of shadows. I dip into some of these as well. I didn't really use the true pink, mauve, berry tones as much, but these are gorgeous. The key to using the shimmer or metallic shades is to use your finger to not pat, but almost smear it across your eye. And it gives a beautiful metallic finish. And then two more that are definitely not budget friendly. This one was a standout for, I think, everyone. The Natasha Denona Glam Palette. It is gorgeous. Again, very much cool tone, very similar shades to the ColourPop That's Taupe. The quality of these are another level. But there are a couple of neutral and warmer shades in here that kind of anchor down a look and don't make the whole thing go too cool toned if you're worried about that. And I can honestly tell you, I've used every single shade in this palette. That rarely happens. And then newer to me, but still needs to be mentioned, is the Natasha Denona Neutral Biba palette. I'm wearing it today. It doesn't have every shade I would want, like it really needs a matte or satin cream tone shadow for a brow bone, but these colors are beautiful. If you want an all matte look, they're fabulous. There are a couple of shimmer shades in here to kind of make things a little more exciting. I'd say if it's a toss up between the Biba and the Glam palette, I would reach for the Glam palette, but I love that I finally got this one. I got it during a sale. And speaking of which, if the full-on Glam palette is too much for you, I have used this probably more than the full palette, and it's the Mini Glam, and I'm hesitant to hold it up because I broke it like a lot because I travel with it. Look at how pretty that is in the sunlight. Isn't that gorgeous? A few more eye favorites. Let's get to brows. I have something new. I haven't even mentioned this to you. Been using it a couple of months though, so I need to talk about it. For brow gel, for years, I've been using the NYX brow mascara in taupe or blonde, and I love it. But I recently started using the e.l.f. Wow Brow in taupe, and I am really, really liking it. I think even more. So this goes on the favorites list. And then for filling in my brows, it's two of the same product. It's the NYX Lift and Snatch Brow Marker. And in the inner part, I use it in the shade taupe. And then in the outer part, I've been using it in the shade soft brown. And I just am really enjoying how my brows look. In fact, I've gotten asked so many times this year if I've had my brows microbladed since I started using these, and the answer is no, it is just a marker. And then for mascara, I never skip a day of using lash primer, and my favorite lash primer is the Lancome Seals Booster XL. It's just a basic white primer. Put it on the bottom lashes, put on my mascara, put it on the top lashes, then put on my mascara. And the mascara that I have worn the most in 2021 and never talked about it is this one. It's so cheap. I think it's under $5. It's from Essence. It's the Lash Princess False Lash Effect Mascara. Look for the green packaging. I think it just really does what it says. And I love the wand because it's real bristles, but it's really narrow. So you can really, especially for those bottom lashes, it is not a problem getting in there. So I really, really love this. I love other mascaras too. This is someone that I've used for sure the most in 2021. Moving on to lips. So many things to talk about. I've loved some lip liners. I've loved the new one from Lisa D1. I've been really enjoying the ones from BK Beauty, but I would have to say the standout for me for 2021 are the lip liners from Laura Mercier. I have the one in Macaron on today. These are a pencil that you can sharpen and get a really nice fine point, but they're also long wearing and they last forever. Let me back up and talk about the best lip balm for 2021 is this one from Revision. It's called their Youthful Lip Replenisher. Now this is not one I would keep in my purse. It goes on really thickly and it's really hard to apply anything over it. So I keep this in my nightstand. I put this on in the morning, I put this on in the evening, and the nights I skip it, I can definitely tell a difference. It's incredible. It's very luxurious, very thick on the lips. I love this. Now for lipsticks itself. I don't reach for my liquid lipsticks as much as I used to, but for sure, the Revlon Color Stay Satin Ink lipsticks were a huge hit, I should say, of the pandemic and 2021 for me. I have more shades than this actually, but my favorite shades are probably Partner in Crime and Your Go-To, which is these two. I will say that they go on a little bit darker than they appear in the tube, so I would love it, and maybe they have, I haven't checked in a while, if Revlon came out with some more lighter tones, because these do deepen up. But what I love about them is they look like lipstick, not like liquid matte dried lipstick. They look like lipstick, they stay glossy on your lips, but they stay on for a very long time. Another drugstore lipstick that I absolutely love, the L'Oreal Nude Intense collection. I have two that I love. Nu Impertinent, which was the first one that I tried. I'll swatch it here for you, which is right there. They're all different variations on nude, nudie pinks. And then Nu Confident, which is a much more nude pink that I first heard about from watching Lisa D1, who's the queen of lipstick combos. So that's Nu Confident. And in my monitor, that is appearing very true to real life. Another huge standout, got it during the anniversary sale. I wore it for months and then kind of moved on to other things, and I need to pull it back out because it's so beautiful, is the Bobbi Brown, the Crushed Lip Color in Cezanne Nude. It is a magical nude shade that looks kind of like a brownie pink, and depending on what you pair it with, it looks more pink, it looks more brown, it looks more bronze. See here, it looks a little more brown, but it definitely has some pink undertones, so it will go with everything. What am I wearing today? Ah, yes, I am wearing my last favorite lipsticks for 2021, which is the BK Beauty Luxe Lipstick Collection. And today I am wearing Self Love paired with the Laura Mercier Macaron lip liner. I love all the shades, but 4 out of 5 of them I wear on a daily basis. The 5th one, Passion, is more of a drama statement shade, and I just generally don't wear those shades. If I am going to wear a shade like that, that's definitely what I would reach for. I love them all. I wear probably Self Love the most. I'm also loving Kindness a lot right now. It just kind of depends on the day, but they are amazing. Let's move on to beauty tools. I don't have a ton. The first is something that I just used, so it's dirty. It is the e.l.f. Camo Concealer Sponge. See how it comes to a nice fine point at the end there? So this is perfect for, it's what I use every morning when I do my Tarte Shape Tape. You must use a sponge, otherwise it'll be far too heavy. And I know there's still people that don't know this, but you take any kind of sponge that you're using, whether it's an e.l.f., BK Beauty, Beauty Blender, the original one, get it soaking wet until it like just really blows up, and then squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. I take mine in a washcloth and squeeze it in the washcloth so it's just barely damp. You cannot use these dry. And then I pat, 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 and I pat in the Tarte Shape Tape. It's what I use every day. If I am using a thicker foundation, a heavier foundation, I will use this as well. I also use this with cream bronzer. It has so many uses, and it's like $3. It's fantastic. Another beauty tool that I cannot live without, and I kind of want to use right now because I have a killer headache, are these 2-in-1 facial massagers. They're not 2-in-1. They're 2 separate tools. They come in one package. And I, again, was introduced to these when I had my makeup done for the photo shoot for Gigi New York. And you can use both of them without turning them on. I mean, the balls still move around. They feel a lot better when they're on. They're great for just facial massage, but if you have any kind of headache, like I do right now, I especially like the T-bar one because this is where my headaches usually are, right in the middle there. And this makes them go away for a little bit. So I love this. I will stop. The other tool I need to mention also lives in my purse. It's a little guy. It's nothing expensive. It's by Revlon. It's their Volcanic Roller Ball. And it soaks up excess oil and mattifies the skin. It's amazing. So you don't have to worry about getting cakey powder all over your face. You just do this. Look at it, even brought down the highlighter a little bit. I mean, it's amazing. And you can pop out the stone and wash it off if you're worried about hygiene, but it is incredible, especially for those of us with dry skin that want to take down the shine but don't want to add too much powder. Now for hair products and hair tools, I only have a few things. This again, I learned about from that photo shoot I did. This is from SGX NYC, and I've loved this brand, but I didn't know about this product. It's called the Do It All. It is a 3-in-1 dry texture spray. It has, it's a dry shampoo basically meets a hairspray. So it does all kinds of things. For deep conditioning and taking down the brassiness in my hair, this is my go-to. It is from L'Oreal. It's the Le Gloss. I use the Cool Blonde or Ash Blonde one. I also have this one in clear if I don't want to do any color treating. I just want to do conditioning. I use this about every other week or so. It is fantastic. And they have a different shade for all kinds of hair. So if you have, you know, deep brunette hair or red hair or what have you, or warm blonde and you want to bring out the warm tones, they have a shade for you, or they have clear. This is from Oribe and it is their anti-humidity spray. So it's sort of like a really, really, really fine hairspray meets a hair mist to take down the frizz. I kind of needed to use this today. And it's just perfect. So if you're dealing with frizzy hair and you want to take away the frizz without weighing down your hair, give this one a go. And then the standout hair tool for sure. Well, first of all, these silicone mats, not new to me, but if you don't have these and you have hot hair tools, you need this in your life. I'll link it in the description box. If you've had issues trying to figure out how to curl your hair with a curling iron, you've got to try the Bio-Ionic curling irons. I have the 1 inch. The wand is extra long and it just makes it so much easier to work with. And I love that it has this cool tip that you know, hold to style and stuff. I do have my Dyson Corel. I like it. I can't say it's like my all-time favorite. It's hard to recommend a $500 hair tool, especially since I still haven't figured out how to curl my hair with that thing. Let's go on to skincare. The one product that I think has made the biggest difference in my skin is the SkinCeuticals Vitamin C Serums. I started off the year with the CE Ferulic, which is what I have here. Then I phased over to the Floretin CF, which I think for me is better. But I just ran out of it this week and I already had a backup of the CE Ferulic and at $160 a bottle, $155, something like that. You use what you have. So I think they both do a fantastic job of brightening, helping with hyperpigmentation, skin tone evening. But if you have dry skin and you're more focused on hyperpigmentation, try the Floretin CF. If you have oily skin, try the Silymarin CF. I'll link all three of them below and definitely click on the link and learn a little bit more about each product to figure out which one would work for you. Another standout skincare product, very much more budget friendly, is the L'Oreal Hyaluronic Serum. It also has caffeine in it and I use it every day, morning and night. I put it under my eyes and all these lines here before I put on moisturizer. And it helps plump up those lines and make them appear as if they have diminished. My favorite self-tanner I ran out of, I need to order, so I'll insert a picture. It's the Loving Tan 2-Hour Express. I believe it is in the shade Dark. I just keep going back to it. I've bought so many bottles of it, I don't even know. The key is you must use a mitt to put it on to get a nice, really even tan. And what I love about it is it'll get me pretty dark, which is hard to do. My melanin is very stubborn. But what I really love is if you put it on a second day, it really bumps it up a level. So back-to-back nights and you will be deep, dark, and golden. I don't know if I want to consider this hair care, a beauty tool. Again, I don't know that I've ever talked about this. Kenzie actually sent this to me. I've unplugged it. It's their hair removal IPL device. And I decided not to do a sponsored video on this. I have been using this not even all that consistently after a while for hair removal on my body, mostly my legs. And this worked like a dream. And I have used tons of other ones that have worked somewhat, but I have never seen effects like I've seen or results like I've seen with this and that have lasted. I basically shave my legs once a week. It's fabulous. And then lastly, I need to mention my fragrance of the year, the one I reached for the most, the one I've gotten the most comments on when I'm out in the real world, the Tom Ford Lost Cherry fragrance. I will list to the video I just did with my updated fragrance collected link on the eye to my updated fragrance collection, but this is outstanding. It's incredibly unique, and unfortunately, it's also really expensive. I have yet to find a dupe for this. Once I do actually smell it myself, if I can find one, I will of course recommend it, so be subscribed and keep watching. But if you're looking for something sweet and sexy and warm and unique, try this. You can always get a sample at Nordstrom if they have a Tom Ford counter. I know it's carried at Saks, I know it's carried at Sephora, so it's an investment. Go have a sniff before you order it online. Although if you order it from Nordstrom, you can always return it. Thank you so much for an amazing 2021 here in my Miss Gold Girl community. I can't say that 2021 in the real world was necessarily fantastic, but this little world that we've created for each other has been amazing, and I love spending 2021 with you. I'm looking forward to a great 2022. Like I mentioned before, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of this stuff. I am planning some new kinds of content for 2022, and I can't wait for you to see it. All right, thanks for hanging out with me today. We've been here long enough. Let's go. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.